All right, welcome back. This is 5.2, graphing from point slope form. So in the past, in our last class, we talked about, I gave you the slope or the equation, the problem asked or gave you the slope and a point, and we plugged it into our point slope form. So this would be your point, your x and y from your point that was given, and then your slope. All right, and that was good. If you need to refer to that video, you sure can. But today we're going to talk about graphing from point slope form. All right, so in the past, whenever we graphed, if we had it in slope intercept form, like y equals mx plus b, all you needed to do to graph was you'd plot the y-intercept. Like say we had some sort of graph, you'd put the point on the y-intercept, and then you would do the rise over run kind of thing to get your graph. All right, but this time in point slope form, we don't have the y-intercept, we have the point, a point. All right, so all you need to do at that point is using the point, you plot the point, and then you use the slope, just like you did with slope intercept. Intercept is a point, and we're just doing a different point that we're going to use to do our graph, right? So let's just do that, get right into that. All right, so here's just a review of the equation, okay? And we'll probably want to refer to that often, okay? But we're going to start by just, I'll give you the slope and I'll give you a point. So this point, this is your x and y, so you'd want to find that, would plot it, so -4 in the x direction and then down 2, okay? So that would be our point, and then we want to use the slope, where the slope is 2 over 3, so rise 2 over 3, rise 2 over 3, rise 2 over 3. Okay, so these would be our points that we want to connect. Okay, and then please take it all the way to the end of the graph. Arrows are appreciated because this line continues to go forever. All right, and that's pretty much half of what we're covering. Okay, so here's another point, 0, 0. This time our slope is -4 over 5, so we'd go down 4 over 5. Okay, down 4 over 5, which would be somewhere over here. And then you'd go the same direction too. And then we'll just connect all those dots. Okay, that's it. All right, here's C and D are a little different, so let's just look at that. Here we have a point 5, would go over 5 and then down 5. Okay, so, and then it says slope of 0. So slope of 0 is just a horizontal line, right? Like if you were to write rise over run, here it would be 0 would be your rise over anything. So like for example, you could go over 1, or rise would be 0, run would be 1 in that situation. Or you could go rise would be 0 over 2. Either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter because anything, 0 divided by anything is 0, and that would give you your slope. Okay, the other side is undefined. Okay, this one uses the same point, so 5, -5. And then undefined, we talked about, is a vertical line. Okay, so if you were to do the slope, rise over run, okay, you could go rise 2, I don't know, you could go up 2, but then your run would be 0. You can't go over at all, or the line doesn't go over at all, okay? And anything divided by 0, if you plugged in your calculator, it would give you an error because that is, we call it undefined. Okay, undefined slope. Okay. All right, and then I'd like you to pause and try and do E and F. So we have a point -4, 3. And then slope is down 1 over 6. Down 1 over 6. Okay, and then you could always kind of use some sort of ruler. Okay, so I just used I used a sticky note. If you have like a credit card or something like that, you can always use that, or I do have some rulers in class if you want to use that during the test. Okay, here's another example. Hopefully you tried this before you watched this. So you'd go over 1 in the x direction, and then up 5. And then we do rise of 2 over 7. So there's 1 point, and then we'd go, if we're going left, then we'd kind of go down and then over 7, which would be right here. Okay, and then again, try and use a nice straight edge to make that look good. Okay, and you can put arrows on them. All right, so that's pretty good. So just all you need to do here is plot the point and use the slope. Rise over run. Okay. All right, and I kind of fixed this on mine. This stuff is on the other page, but other times you'll be given an equation rather than just the point and the slope. So we'll need to find the point and the slope and then graph. Okay. So there's a reminder at the top, just what the equation is. All right. So in the past, say we had some point. Okay. Say, I don't know, maybe we wanted to plug this into our equation, and we used -2 and 3. Okay. So if we plug that into this equation, we'd always do y minus y1, here would be 3, equals m, whatever that is, and then we'd do x minus a -2 would give you a +2. All right, so if you notice that when we plug these in, it's changing its sign. So 3 turns to -3, -2 turns into a +2. Okay, so if we're trying to take these points out, it's also, it's going to go back to its original, like the value. It will change those signs. So if we want to find this point, if we take the x out, it's going to give us a -2. And if we take this -2 and put it back into a point, it would give us a +2. Okay? And if you don't believe me, you could try and put these back into our equation. That would be x minus a -2. That gives us a +2. And if we put this this 2 into this equation, it gives us a y minus 2. Right? So just again, whenever you plug stuff in, it's going to affect, basically it's just going to change those signs when you take them out. Okay? And the slope will always be just what's there. Okay, nothing tricky about that. So then we'd plot. So -2, 2, which would be right here, down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, all the way till it leaves. And then, again, try and make it look kind of nice when you graph. Okay, something like that. All right. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is another little tricky. All right, so slope, obvious, -3/2. Okay, but the point, what would be the point? If we look at this example of our equation, we have y minus y1. Well, what does y1 have to be if it's not there? Okay, it's got to be 0. So here we'd put our 0 for our y1. And then here, let me just clear that out a little bit. Here we're missing something there too, so that would also be plus 0. All right? And like usually when we, in our last lesson, we talked about if there's a 0 in there, we don't keep it, right? We would rewrite it without having that in there. So if something is missing, okay, I'm going to write this here for you, write it on your notes too. If anything is missing, it is 0. Okay? So here we're missing a y1, we're missing an x, okay? Those will always be zeros if it's missing. All right, so we plot it, down 3 over 2, down 3 over 2, okay? And then you just connect all those lines. Didn't use my straight edge that time. Okay? So here, these ones are for you. I'd like you to give these a try, pause it, and come back to me. All right, so this one we talked about slope. Okay, so looking at that, there's not anything there. There's no slope. If it was, I mean, it is. It's 0, okay? And point, if we had our point, here we have y plus 3, so we'd want to take it out and change its sign when we take it out of the equation. And then since there's nothing over here, we'd want that to be 0. Okay, so here we'd have our point would be 0, negative 3, which is right here, with a slope of 0, which is a horizontal line. Okay, and then here again, here what type of slope is that? All right, so that would be negative 1. Okay, it wouldn't be 0, because if it was 0, then this whole thing would be 0. So it's got to be negative 1. And then our point, again, when we take things out, changes its sign. So we plot 3, negative 2, and then we use our rise over run. So it's down 1 over 1. Okay, and that would continue all the way out of the graph. Okay, something like that. So if you have any questions on that, please let me know. So, I mean, really all we're doing is pulling these out, pulling out the points, changing their signs. Slope's pretty easy to find. And then we just plot the point. Again, we plot the point and use the slope. Okay, that's it. All right, so 5.3 will be after the break, and again, we're taking our test next. We're doing a mini test, so we're kind of breaking it into 2 parts. If you have any questions on the homework or the quiz or test that's coming up, please feel free to come and talk to me.